How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today we're back with some more Star Wars content for you all to digest. Plus, it's another episode of the Understanding to How to Build series I've started on the channel, going over each of the different leaders, helping you understand how to build them, so that way you can know the best way to play it for you when each of these leaders, because each one does have 4 different combinations, because there's 4 different aspect combinations they can do, and we're going to go over the leader just to help you understand which one's right for you, which one you feel is best if you want to play this lead. So without the way, we'll just do a bit of the advertising I normally do at the start of the channel, being don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It keeps you updated with my videos as and when they drop. And by clicking the notification bell, you can get alerts to my videos when they drop to watch them there and then, or at a later date that suits you, or a later time that suits you. Without the way, we're going to go over and understand how to build Luke Skywalker now. So we've gone over all the other Vigilance leaders, well, blue, if you're not sure, not up to date on the aspects so far. But we're going to have a look at Luke. He's one of the starter deck ones, and the ones you get from the pre-release, and he is quite a decent leader. So we're going to have a look and see and understand how to build. So, starting off, let's have a look at the leader. So this is one of the starter deck leaders. So it's a very nice one. The other side of the starter deck is Vader, and he is a Vigilance Heroism. So he's blue-white, and he's got some very nice stats. So when he's deployed, he's at 4/7, which is pretty strong. So it's nice to be above 5 health, because otherwise, if you're leading with just 5 health, when you come in, you can get straight away taken out by Takedown. Be a very good blue card that's able to remove anything that's got 5 or less HP remaining, and yeah, so having that much means he's quite a sturdy one, but he doesn't do the most damage, but he does do quite decent damage. Because you look at some units like not Iden Krennic that come out, it comes out with 2 less power but has the same health. And he's got quite a cool ability as well, because he's both Force and Rebel, so you get both benefits just like Jarrett does. So really nice benefits there from his traits. And when he's not deployed, when he's in the leader area, he has an action where you can pay 1 and tap himself to give a shield token to a heroism unit you played this phase. You do have to play things. You have to play something each turn to be able to give the action, meaning that you're kind of playing something less on curve. Because where your normal decks that pay one, that's the first turn when you got 2 resources that pay a 2 cost to make use of both the 2 energy resources. Luke kind of plays a little bit behind, where he's playing out something, and if you want to get that protection, and the shield is really good, you have to basically pay one less than your resources. So you have that 1 left, and to be able to tap Luke so you can give it the shield. But once you deploy, which is at 6 resources, so not too late but not too early, then you get to deploy him with pretty nice stats. And the nice thing about leaders when they deploy is they come in straight away active, so they don't come in exhausted. So you can just swing with him straight away, and that's a benefit for Luke, because his skill when he's deployed is still regarding giving shields, but it's on attack giving every unit a shield. So you can swing, give something a shield, which is really nice, especially when you can protect things like Sentinel cards. Give them a shield so that way they can keep protect, especially if you have it in the ground arena. Be able to drop a card with Sentinel, give it a shield from Luke, and then deploy it, give it another shield, means it's got a nice bit of protection. Yeah, nothing in the ground arena or your base can be attacked, except the Sentinel, unless they got Saboteur, of course. So pretty strong leader, pretty decent stats, really nice effect. So it's going to be interesting to see what we can use it with. And also remember, as I said, there's 4 different aspects you can go for with each of the leaders. So you have the base 2 that you start off with on the lead, being this in this case Heroism and Vigilance, so white blue. Then you can add via your base another combination. So you can either go for double Vigilance, so you put a Vigilance base. You can go for Command, you can go for Aggression, or you can go Cunning. And the good thing about Luke is, due to his effect, he's got a decent way to build for each different one. Like some units they might have, some leaders they might have more benefit in one aspect than the others, or some aspects they might not be great way to use, but then other aspects it might be pretty nice. Luke is a nice one across the board, so you can play it pretty well with each different ones. But before we do get into how to, the benefits of each different aspect and understanding them a bit more, we're going to go over ratios, because ratios are a good thing to understand when it comes to knowing how many of each card you can put in the deck, because you can put 3 copies of any card in your deck. So that's the maximum amount you can have for a place that's 3 copies, similar to things like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff. So you might be thinking, why would you not put in 3 and things like that? Well, here's a good example. So your Jedi Lightsaber here being a card you can probably put full free copies in your deck because it's an upgrade. It's like an upgrade that gets the benefit of being a Force. It considers Luke is a Force unit and can come out on turn 6 when you got enough energy to play. Then it's a really nice one to help like boost up Luke, keep him around so he becomes a lot stronger, a lot more bulkier, and it's just all around great card. It's a great effect as well if it's actually a Force unit. So things like this that you want to see, early, especially if you put more Force units in your deck as well. You can make good use of this by equipping on other cards, not just Luke. But things like this, cards that you do want to see early and see as many as possible. You only want to have 3 copies of. And considering it's the first set of game, you might want to put a fair few cards at free just so you can get that consistency of seeing things and be able to use them. And then things like Luke Skywalker, so the legendary unit of Luke, you might want to put this at 2 copies because it's a very late game play, and unless you're going into the command aspect to use ramp, you're not going to drop this too early. Like if you play in ramp, you might be able to get this out a little bit early, like a few turns earlier, depending on how many times you ramp. But if you don't, then you're going to be seeing this quite late. So like 7 resources means you're going to drop it at turn 6. That's quite a way away, and well, that's at the earliest you can drop it. And you might not want to have too many of these early, so having these look like a less quantity, like 2 instead of 3, could be helpful because then you won't see them too often early when you can't really play them, have to resource them or keep them dead in your hand. But having 2 means you can potentially see them later game, still see them when you want to see them, and not get clogged up early. And then we've got cards like Redemption here being a one-off. So these are more like for one-offs, more like tech choices. So things that if you do see them, it's gonna be great. If you don't see them, you don't care. Or if you do see them, you don't need them, then you could always resource them because they're not that useful in that situation. There's more things that you feel would be helpful in a matchup for game 1 because this is the best very game, but you don't need them for every game. So things like if you feel like you might need to deal with aggro a little bit and it's a card that could really help, you can put that in at once. If you do go against aggro, you can kind of like try to mulligan for it or just hope to find it early so you can make use of it. But if you're against a deck that isn't useful against, you can always go ahead and charge it or not care if you see it. It's one of those, if you see it, it's good. If you don't see it, you don't care kind of things. So hopefully that explains the ratios with each one. So hopefully you understand now why you would include anything at 3, at 2, or 1 copies. So let's start off with looking at aspects, and we'll go for the double one like we normally do, because that's the one that has like the lowest card pool. Because the benefit of any aspect is you have access to all the cards in that aspect without the penalty. All the cards in that aspect, give or take the heroism or ability sides, and you have access to all those, and with no net penalty cost. So the penalty cost is that if you try to play a card that doesn't share an aspect among your leader and base, you have to pay an extra 1 for each aspect that doesn't match. So if you're playing double vigilance here with heroism, and you try to play a command card, so a green card, then you have to pay an extra 2 on top of its actual cost on the card. And if you were to play like say a command villainy card, so a green black one, you'd have to pay an extra 4 on top of its cost because you don't share those 2 traits on the lead or the base. So the benefit of having different traits, like a different trait on your base to your lead, means you have access to more cards, especially in the first set where it's quite limited on the amount of cards in the set. It gives you more access to more cards, but going with double aspect, it can also give you access to some pretty powerful cards that require to have 2 of the same aspect on, but you get a very limited access to a card pool because you're stuck then to just, if you don't want to get the incur the aspect penalty, you're stuck to just having the one aspect, but you have access to some pretty powerful cards. But at the moment, we've only got 3 in each aspect that have the dual aspect traits, and these are the ones here. And also going over the base as well, like you've got the option of each different aspect having 3 different bases. You either got 2 vanilla 30k ones, well 30k, I'm used to Dragon Ball, 30 HP bases, and then you've got 1 rare base in each aspect that is got less health at 25 instead of 30, but it has an epic action, being an action you can take once per game that can be quite beneficial. And for the blue one, for Vigilance, it's Security Complex, and its epic action is give a shield tip into a non-leader unit. So it's got the same kind of benefit as Luke, but you can only give it to a non-leader. So it does the same thing as Luke, giving it to things that aren't itself to kind of protect him a little bit. So it can be very useful, but I don't think there's going to be the biggest benefit in playing Luke with just Vigilance or Vigilance, because while he does have some pretty nice cards in Bendu, Protector, and Vigilance, they aren't the best way to make use of it, because you want to play a lot more. You want to make sure that you're playing heroic units, because on the before Luke is deployed, you need to play heroic units to get the effect to give them a shield. Not just any unit; it's got to be heroic ones. And if you're limiting yourself to just the heroic, also just to vigilance, then you're losing access to a whole never aspects heroic cards. So you have a very limited pool, which I don't think there's too many in Vigilance as well, either that like a decent costing to kind of get that benefit. And if you're not using the benefit of the leader, then why are you playing this leader in a sense? So while you get access to some really nice cards here, you don't really get the most benefit out of this. But then with these cards, you got Bindo here. That does have also be a nice card to protect, but unfortunately you can't protect it until you're deployed, even though you can protect this with Luke when it is deployed, because it doesn't check for the heroic aspect, just gives a shield when it attacks. So you can play this and then protect it, and it's a good sentinel with good stats. And on attack, it allows you to play anything that's not the next thing you play that's not heroic, not villainy, for 2 less. So a pretty nice card, especially when protected by Luke. You got Protector here, so you can give something Sentinel and then protect it with Luke by giving it a shield, so making it so it's got Sentinel to kind of protect your base and your other units, while Luke just gives it shields, which is quite cool. And you got Vigilance here being a very good one, a very good one of the events that each aspect has, where it's dual aspect and offers you any 2 of the 4 ones, but you can only use 1 of each of the effects, either milling 6, healing 5 in your base, defeating something that's 3 or less HP, or giving a shield. So the shield aspect is pretty the shield effect on the card is really good. You can give a shield to Luke, so that way you can give him some protection while giving protection to other cards, and then you've got the option to either like heal from your base if you're taking too much damage, or defeat something that's quite weak. But you never really want to do the discard 6, because it's not a real reason to try and go for a mill in this game, considering that mill isn't an alternative win condition. Like even if you mill your opponent out, they're still alive, but they still are taking damage to base. So it's not the best kind of alt win condition like in other games. So you've got double vigilance here. Not the best for Luke, I would say. You can always try it if you want to, but I wouldn't say it's the best because it limits your card pool and gives you less heroic units to make full use of Luke's effect. So then we move on to commands. That's the next one. So the green. And you've got some pretty nice options here. But the thing with green is it doesn't have the best use of, it doesn't have the best in terms of heroic units, because you got to think about with Luke, where it's before he's deployed, he only gets the benefit of protecting heroic units, protecting the good guys, and you want to look into a card that has a decent amount of these, or like good ones, so you can keep using them. And by having dual aspect, means you get access to the blue ones, which you got some good blue ones, we've got Obi-Wan, you've got the 7-drop Luke and things like that, but you haven't got the best ones early. Like you got some nice ones, but not anyone's that amazing, so you want to look for whatever aspect and give pretty decent ones for the early game, or even just good heroic units. But then in command, you do get access to really nice cards. So you get access to a really good base. So you've got the skillless ones, like all of them do, but you've got Energy Conversion Lab as the rare one for command. With its epic action being, you can play a unit that costs 6 or less from your hand and give it ambush for the phase. Ambush meaning that you can go in and attack straight away at a unit, so you can play a unit that can attack another unit straight away in the same arena, so you can kind of like stop things from being able to attacking the next turn, but taking it out quickly, which is a really nice one, especially when it comes to taking out leaders. Well, bring out something that can then ambush the lead and take it out before it even gets to do anything, which is quite scary. But remember, you still got to pay the cost for the cards. So whatever you play out from this, you still got to pay the cost of it. It doesn't play out for free, because cards don't play out for free unless they actually say on the cards. So there's that. And you get access to some pretty nice heroic units. You get Mon Mothma, which is a nice one to kind of give consistency. It's a good turn 1 play that can help you look at the top 5 to find a rebel and reveal it and draw it. So it can help you make sure you've got something for your next turn on curve. Also pretty not the best stats, but still decent stats. But then the problem is, if you play us on turn 1, you won't be able to protect it with Luke. But if you play it turn 2, you can. You got Akbar here being a nice bit of removal, where it deals damage to a unit when played, equal to the number of units you control in its arena. So if you want to target something in the space arena, you do damage equal to the things you have in your space arena, or your side of the space arena, and then same thing with ground. And pretty nice removal, like a little bit more costly than Mothma, a little bit bulkier, but then still does damage, but it has also restore. So this is a pretty nice one as well. And also fits most of the things fit in with the rebel theme in the green heroic side. You got some pretty good ships as well. You got Bright Hope being a Centaur one you can protect with Luke to kind of like protect your base in the space arena from that side of the game. And also, when played, you can return a friendly non-leader ground unit to zone its hand to then draw a card. So you can get back something that's taking damage and put it back down. So if you feel like you've got something that's been taking a bit of damage, you don't want it to die, you can pass it back to your hand. You do have to replay it out using resources, but it could be helpful to keep something strong and quite alive. And you got home one being probably one of the biggest units, because green doesn't have the best on the heroic side anyway of big units, but it's got home one, like a quite costly card, 8 cost, 7/7 decent stats, gives you restore 2 on itself, then restore 1 on every friendly unit, and then allows you to free play out any heroic card that's 3 or less, because it's when played as play a unit heroic unit from you discard power and it costs 3 less. So anything 3 or less comes out for free, because you basically remove the entire cost of it. But anything higher, you have to pay the cost you have to minus it by 3 and then pay whatever remaining cost there is. So you can get some nice things like Admiral Akbar and Mon Mothma and stuff like that. It's a pretty good effect, and it just allows you to give you more restore, like basically more survivability, which is cool. And then since Luke is a rebel, you got access to things like Rebel Assault if you go for this way, because this Rebel Assault's a really nice card, like a 1 cost event that allows you to attack with a rebel unit, giving it +1 for that attack, and then straight after attack with another rebel unit that gets +1 for that attack. So you get attack quicker and faster, or also a little bit stronger too. Now the non-heroic side of Green, because you got to consider that what's in the non-heroic side, is some really nice cards, because you got the thing with Green is that command is that it's the ramp color, so it allows you to build up your resources quicker and quickly to be able to play out bigger things later quicker, and also deploy quicker as well, because Luke doesn't deploy until 6 resources, so if you ramp a little bit higher, you won't have to wait until turn 5 just to deploy him. So you got things like resupply here that allow you to ramp, but the thing is, there's only 3 ramp cards in the game for a command, and that is resupply there. There's 1 in the dark side, so you already don't really get the best access to that unless you want to pay extra 2 for it. So rather than pay 3, pay 5 for super laser tech. And you also have command, but then once again, just like with super laser tech, Luke is not a green command leader himself. So and command is green's double aspect event. So unless you want to play an extra 2 resources, pay 6 just to ramp, then it's not the best. So currently, in the first set, Luke's only really got resupplies at card type ramp to kind of get him out early, but still that's quite a decent one, because you always, if you put out 3 copies, you can hopefully see it, so you can ramp. And you got some pretty nice healing. Like green offers quite a good amount of consistency heal along with its ramp, because you've got Colonel Yularan, which is just when you play a command unit, including itself, you heal 1 from your base, so quite nice. You can play like counts himself, that's pretty cool. And any other green unit you play, you heal. You've got Stormy and Storm Viper, which has got decent stats for 3 cost, and while you have the initiative, you gain restore 2, allowing you to heal 2 from your base when he attacks. And then you got Reinforcement Walker being a pretty nice, pretty strong late game one, being hit quite decently for 6 damage, but having 9 health, so it's quite bulky. And when played or one attack, you get a look top card. You can either add it to your hand, or if you don't want it, you can discard it and then heal 3 from your base. So it allows you to either gain more resources to draw cards quicker, or heal your base to kind of survive a little bit later. And then you also have True Strike being a way to kind of take down something like big without needing to attack it and like exchange blows. With Strike True being like allowing a friendly unit to deal damage equal to its power to an enemy unit, allowing you to basically just put the damage on without needing to attack, which is really cool. So green's a really nice one if you want. It can help you get out Luke quicker, and it has like some pretty nice cards. So that's a pretty good option. Like you could go for this. It just means you'll get Luke out a lot quicker, and you'll have a lot more longevity, because you can heal more, and you've got some like really nice cards that have like Sentinel that play things out to kind of add that consistency to you as well. So, and also you have access to U-Wing Reinforcements as well, which is a card I forgot to put on, which is a really nice one for when you go to turn 7. Now to spam up things that you can then have for Luke to then just protect with a shield. So then we go on to aggression. So aggression is more about being aggressive and basically like being very aggressive in terms of like damage output and just spreading damage out as well. Like you got some pretty good heroic ones in this, like not ones that you ideally want to, like you still have to play behind curve if you want to protect them, but you have some pretty nice ones that are be quite strong. Like you've got some pretty good space units in Green Squadron Air Wing and Red 3. Both have raids, so while they don't hit back when they're attacked, they don't hit back as strong. But when they're actually attacking themselves, they actually do put out quite a bit of damage. Both like swinging for free, but don't deal but deal less damage when they attack, because the raid is not included on when they're attacked, but on when they attack. And also Red 3 now give all your heroic units raid 1, which you're going to be playing heroic stuff because of Luke. You got K2SO, one being one of the strongest and most annoying units in the game, where it just comes down, does a lot. It's very good stats at 4/4 for a 4 cost, and then a very pesky effect of when it's defeated, either allowing you to deal 3 damage to a base or make it discard, so whichever else you feel is useful, and overwhelm as well, so if it's doing excess damage, it's going to the base. Also, before I forget, you do have the option of your bases, so you have the vanilla bases, or Tarkin Town is the rare base, and this epic action allows you to deal 3 damage to a damaged non-leader unit, so you can't just deal 3 damage outright to anything that's not a leader. It has to be damaged, but at least that allows you to pick it off and finish it, which is quite cool. So very good option for rare baits. And then like he's got quite good late game with like Mace Windu as the actual late game. It does 7 drop, but it's still very good stats of 5/7, like same as Darth Vader. And he's got ambush as well, so you can come straight in attack. And if he does defeat a unit, you're allowed to ready him, which is pretty cool. Especially in terms with Luke, you can always drop Mace Windu, attack something, take it out, restand him, swing with Luke, give him a shield, and he'll be able to attack again. So now he's shielded, and also the more he defeats things, the more he can restand and attack again. And you got a very nice. The more heroic units you put in your deck, the more benefit you get from 4 calls, I believe in. So this is a nice card to be able to like just ping out damage, quite cheap for 3 costs. You can put out potentially 4 damage. Because it allows you to reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, and for each heroic card revealed this way, deal 1 damage to an enemy base. You may discard any of the real cards or put them back on top in any order you choose. So you can basically just have a look at your future, see what you're going to draw, do damage, and then if you want to get rid of, if any of them might be useful, get rid of them, and keep on the top whichever ones you want in any order, so you know what the next 2 you're going to draw for your turn. So some very good heroic units. So talking like aggression is very good in terms of the heroic units for Luke to get benefit before it's deployed, and when it's deployed, it can just shield anything. And then the non-aggression side, well, the non-heroic side of aggression has some pretty nice things as well. Like you've got some pretty good units that are more about like defeating things, like stopping your opponent from having things like taking upgrades off things, stopping from healing, dealing damage, stuff like that. So you got Saber Fang Fighter as a pretty good space unit, be able to take an upgrade, and even shields are an upgrade as well, so you can take off shields, take off experience, things like that. You got Petition Insurgent, which is a nice one to go with some of the heroic. Like if you don't want to have a heroic, you want to play turn 1, or you're playing like a wing on turn 2, so you can give a shield to it. You can play out this first, and then when you play another aggression unit, it gains raid 2, allowing you to hit harder offensively. You have Wolf as well, which is a really nice cheap unit to stop your opponent from healing, and plus get around Sentinel by having Saboteur. So it's a nice way to stop your opponent from trying to heal damage off the base where you aggress them. And then we have Force Throw being a very good one when you deploy Luke. For one resource, allowing you to make a player discard from their hand, and then when you control a Force unit, which Luke is, get a deal damage to equals to the discarded card's cost. And you got cards like Open Fire being like nice events that just deal damage without attacking, just finish things off or just damage them enough, finish them with Tarkin Town. So aggression is also a very good route you can go because it has very good heroic units. But you just got to think about like you will be later game getting out Luke to benefit, but then and since you'll be playing slow on curve, you might not be playing as effectively as other decks because you might want to protect your stuff. But if you don't need to use a shield, you can always just go ahead and start playing things, even if you're not going to protect with a shield, because they're quite strong and quite bulky as well. Then we have Cunning side. So Cunning is quite interesting because it's got some pretty good heroic units, but most of them come like you got most of the good Cunning cards come in like the form of events. Like it's got a lot of events in Cunning, and like the base is not probably the most beneficial for Luke because you got this skills base like the other ones, like basically no effect for a health base, and then you got Jeddah City as the 25 health rare base with his epic action being given non-leader unit -4 power for this phase. So you can weaken something so you can attack it without taking too much damage back, or be able to just make it so it can do a lot of damage to you, like having to your base or to your units. But then I haven't seen this be used as effectively compared to the other bases, but it is an option. And in Heroic for Cunning, you got some pretty nice cards. Like you do have some like strong early game ones. Like you got Millennium Falcon being a very good space you can play straight away and attack straight away with, but then you have to just manage your resources by paying extra 1 to keep it on board without it back to hand. You got Ezra, which is a very good unit, a force unit and heroic, so you can protect it straight away. Or if you can protect it on it to come out, this can gain you lots of advantage by just every time it attacks and survives the attack. So this is where Luke comes in to kind of really benefit. You can look at the top card of your deck. You can either play it, discard it, or leave it on top of your deck. But if you do want to play it, you have to pay the cost though. So you have to pay the resources. But it allows you to get you extra cards out without using cards from your hand by basically playing things on top of your deck, which is quite cool. And if you've got ways to kind of manipulate the top card of your deck to kind of see what there is, you can always then go ahead and make use of it. So set something on top of your deck quite easily and then play it out from Ezra, so you have to use it from your hand. Then you got some pretty good units like Rogue Operative here, which is like for free, having bulky 4 health, have a Saboteur to avoid ignore Sentinel, but then having Raid 2 so it hits for 4 as well for only 3 resources. It's quite nice. And then you have some pretty nice events as well. Like you got Bamboozle here. You can play it for free by discarding a cutting card from your hand instead of paying its cost, allowing you to exhaust something and then return all upgrades on it to his owner's hand. So if there's like shield or experience, that's going to just go. It's not going to go back to their hand. And you got Spark Rebelling, which could be a very nice turn 1 play to be able to look at your opponent's hand and discard a card. So you can potentially disrupt your opponent from being able to make use of anything. And if you don't want to play, if you want to play something, but you don't want to pay a 1 cost to then give it a shield and be behind a little bit, you can always play Spark Rebellion, look at your opponent's hand, see what they've got, and if they've only got 1 2-cost play, you can always make and discard that, so they've got no to play turn 1, so that way you get the turn 3. With neither player really doing anything, you've passed the turn without them potentially setting up, and then get closer to awakening, or deploying, without really worrying. So I don't think there's the most, there's not the absolute best in terms of heroic stuff, but you got some pretty nice one like Ezra Blizzard's like a very good one. If you can protect that and make full use of that over and over again by protecting with Luke, it's going to be very, very beneficial for you. Ooh, that's the wrong way. Then we've got the non-heroic side of Cunning. So you've got some pretty nice cards. You got Crafty Smuggler, card that comes in shielded. You got Outer Rim Hunter, which is a very good beneficial space unit the longer you keep Luke deployed. Because while you control a leader unit, you can exhaust a non-leader unit whenever it attacks. You got Strafing Gunship, is a very good unit that can it's a very good and unique space unit that can attack. Is one of the only ones that can really fight between arenas, being able to fight the ground arena from the space arena. And when you do, the counter attacking does 2 less damage back to you, so pretty nice. And you got some pretty good events like Snapshot Reflexes, allow you to attack straight, put it onto a unit, give an extra 1/1 to its stats, and then attack straight away with it. So you can always just boost up Luke with it and attack straight away. And then you got Waylay being a very nice one, being able to put anything your opponent has that's not a leader back to hand, so to put them back a turn. So if they play something big, you can always bounce back to hand, so they've wasted the whole turn doing that while you only pay 3 resources. So, Cunning is not the absolute best, but it does have some good options. I think so far Command is probably the best one because it can get you up, ramp up quicker to bring out your leader quicker, so you can make use of not having to just buff, protect things with shield that are just heroic, but you can protect anything with your shield when he's deployed. So I think getting to 6 resources quicker by ramping to be able to bring out and be able to protect anything. And even put some pressure in by attacking is really good. Then also remember you got cards that aren't just heroic, but they are also not just heroic, but they are just heroic. Sorry, they're not just any other aspect. They're just heroic. So you got things like R2D2 here being a very good one, and especially when combined with C3PO, gets a nice way to kind of give you more value and also protection on them. So you can play R2D2 turn 1, look at the top card of your decks if you want to keep it on top or on the bottom, and protect with a shield. The next turn, play C3PO, be able to make use of R2D2's look at the top card of your deck whenever it attacks or is played, to then know what's on your deck so you can call it with C3PO, to then add it to your hand. Got the Donna as well, here to be able to boost up any friendly rebel unit, being even like Luke, by buffing Luke by 1/1, put it to a 5/8, and being able to put a shield into Donna just to protect him while he does hit quite hard at 4/4, it's really nice. And then Medal Ceremony, being able to boost all your rebels if they attack with them, especially if you protected them with shields. They'll survive a little bit longer. Be able to boost them up for free because it's a 0-cost event is really nice as well. So you've got good access to some of the because of their rebels, what they do. some of, like most of the heroic, just pure heroic cards are very good to go with Luke as well, because they get a benefit of him being a rebel. And then you might be thinking, what's good in the actual vigilance side of like Luke's own aspects himself? Well, he's got very nice ones. Like he's got his own lightsaber, being Luke's lightsaber, which is a unique upgrade because it's got the little star, so you can have one of them on the board. But then, since Luke is your leader, you can always deploy him, make sure he's always about to do it. You can always have multiple copies of this because you can always resource any ones you don't want to have or like see and don't need. And it's a really nice one because it doesn't give the same stats as the Jedi lightsaber, but it gives an extra 3 tools attack, turning it up to 7, and giving 1 health, so it's only 7-8, which is very good stats. And then also allowing you to make use, make him style a little bit longer as well, because when played, if it's attached to a Luke Skywalker, which your leader is, you heal all damage from him and then give a shield token to him. So you can get that protection and heal all damage off him, which is unique that you have any heal. There's not too many things that heal from units or heal from leaders like as much as Luke Skywalker does, or Luke's lightsaber does. But being able to allow him to swing, to take damage, and heal him back up and protect him with a shield is very good. Especially since he can protect things with a shield like Sentinels and stuff. Especially with like Obi-Wan here. Obi-Wan being a very good card to go alongside with Luke, because on the same time it comes out, which is 6 resources, you can also play Obi-Wan. So you can play Obi-Wan, deploy, swing, protect Obi-Wan with a shield, and then now Obi-Wan's protecting Luke, while also being shielded. And then if he is defeated ever, he gives 2 experience tokens to a friendly unit, so you give it to Luke. And if it's a force unit, Luke is, you draw a card as well. So you get to buff up Luke with experience thanks to Obi-Wan, and then draw a card. And then you've got the Jedi lightsaber as well, being another good upgrade you can put on Luke Skywalker when he's deployed, giving an extra 3/3 to his stats, and allowing it so on attack, because he's a force unit, he gives the defender that he's attacking -2/2 for the phase, meaning you can just take it out if it's 2/2 or less, or you can just make it easier to swing into and take out without taking too much damage back. And because he's a force unit, to access some really nice cards, like it binds all things, allowing you to heal up to 3 damage per unit, especially keeping Luke around further by healing damage off it. And because Luke's a force unit, allow to deal that damage back to another unit on board, being more like your opponent's stuff. And then the forces with me being a very nice one, being able to choose a friendly unit, give it an extra 2/2 experience. And if you control a force unit, which Luke will be, you give it a shield, so you can give another way to give Luke a shield, and then you can attack the chosen unit. So you can straight away with the forces with me, give Luke an extra 2 experience, give him a shield, then attack straight away with him into like a base or something else, and then trigger his effect when he attacks. They give a shield to another unit, which is very good. So you've got some very nice combinations in his own aspects as well, which is really cool. And on the non-heroic side of his aspect, you've got things like this controller being a nice space unit, which if it's defeated, you give another Vigilance unit a shield, which Luke is. You got also Guardian Wills being another unit can make use of some of the upgrades, like Jedi lightsaber and stuff like that. You got Rugged Survivors being a nice one where if you can keep this out with Luke, then Luke can protect it with a shield. And then its benefit of being on the board is while you control a leader unit, you can draw every time you attack. So every time you attack with Rugged Survivors, you draw a card while Luke is deployed. And if you keep protecting Rugged Survivors and keep it around, it can be very useful. Then you got like Electric Staff being another good upgrade. And you got the legendary Luke unit being a big 7 drop, so it's going to be the turn after you deploy it. But allows you to come down and finish things off by like minusing an enemy unit by 3/3. But if they took out something on your board the same that turn, minus by 6/6, you can potentially take something out very easily without needing to tank, or weaken something so good, so much that it's either dead or it's basically going to be very, very weak. Plus, obviously, restore 3, allowing you to heal as well, which is very cool. So that's all the benefits you can get. Like, you definitely want to make use of its actual aspects, being Vigilance and Heroism, but you got to think about whatever aspect. Like, currently, double Vigilance is not a good way to go for Luke, because you get very limited access for the first set on what you've got, and you want to make sure you've got a decent amount of heroic units to make use of his effect early, otherwise you're not really getting the full benefit of it. Command's a very good one for if you want to ramp up to bring out Luke quickly, so that way rather than just protecting heroic units, you want to protect any unit is very good. You've got Aggression, which can offer you some pretty nice things, like a few additions to Force, but not so much in the heroic side, but offer you some very good heroic units and some good options for like just controlling and maintaining the board. And you've got Cunning as well if you want to be tricky and basically have a very good unit in like Ezra Bridger to make more use, like get more access to cards than just what's in your hand. It's very good while protecting it. it's those are the options you've got. So you've got, I wouldn't say go for double vigilance, but have a look in the other three and then decide what you want. If you want ramp, strong heroic units, or more like control and abuse. So hopefully that has allowed you to like understand how to build Luke Skywalker and see which one is best for you and what way you want to build Luke as best as you feel, and it's giving you a bit more experience so you can go into building Luke and build it better than you would before. So that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one where we go over the next aspect being, I think it's going to be not Grand Moff Tarkin, the Emperor now, because we're moving on to command. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.